What's going on? Huh? What the hell's going on?
Where the hell have you been, huh?
Chief, why is the stage collapsed?
Why are you asking me?
But
But what, Shenyang? Listen, Shenyang, since our company was founded, we have never encountered such a serious accident.
If I put it to you that ile makosa ulifanya nini niliwakataza. Bambi your boyfriend. How do you go to your boyfriend and you're going to school? What is more important than
Mimi sina boyfriend.
Huyu ni mtoto wako?
No, I'm the second parent now. Yes.
Second parent, yes. Lakini hii mambo namwambia ya hao maboyfriend ulijulia wapi?
Nilijua.
Na mbona hukufuatilia mzazi wake umwambie?
Kwa hivyo if I tell this honorable court that what you did, it was your own judgment. Ukafungia watoto nje. Will I be lying?
No.
Thank you.
Wewe ndio uliamua kufungia watoto nje wanafunzi.
Hapana, nilifuata masharti yake mheshimiwa.
Na sasa unasema yes. Kama uelewi sema sielewi.
Yeye haelewi na yeye ni principal.
Wacha nikwambie, kitu mbaya angefanyikia mmoja wao wanafunzi. Hiyo kisungu yako angeisha.
Wait a minute, let me ask you.
Maswali umemaliza ya hii kesi.
When we look at a generation and some people, especially the boy child, I believe there's something that we need to check out.
Like you rightfully said, a lot of us have disqualified ourselves in spaces God has been preparing us for.
It kind of shapes and puts a perception of mediocrity.
I said to myself, my experiences are my uniqueness.
Yeah.
That's my journey and that's my voice. And so I was going to be true to myself. I was not going to come to anybody's standard so that I can fit into any space.
Esteem issues will always show up because sometimes God will do things you look at and you feel like, no, God, no.
Never expected to win these medals, but by the will of God, I won.
And today's story, actually, the book is a translation from another book that was in a different language.
Peter Paper picked a peck of big papers. Peter Paper picked a peck of big papers.
Today I'm going to show you guys how to make the simplest Kenyan porridge at the comfort of your home.
With the return of the Grand Coalition, what is Martha Karua promising Kenyans? Good evening and thank you very much for joining us. Plus, Lamu Port is likely to get a new lease of life. And guess who is at play here? It is Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. And what is at stake? We have all the details coming up here on the Prime Edition. And of course, on our interview segment, we shall be telling you why Bata Shoe Company is banking on your legs for its future strategy. My name is O'Brien Kimani, and thank you very much indeed for joining us. We are coming to you live from our national headquarters here in KBC, and the highlights of what is coming up next is up next. Uniting against Ruto, the birth of the People's Liberation Party as opposition leaders vow to team up ahead of the 2027 general election. Ears on the ground. Raila Odinga says he's listening to Kenyans before formalizing broad-based government pact with President William Ruto. Power off, garbage in. Several people arrested, vehicles impounded in the aftermath of garbage dumping at the Kenya Power offices. And Kenya, Ethiopia in a pact to transform the port of Lamu into a regional transshipment hub. Many thanks for joining us. My name is O'Brien Kimani. Welcome to the Prime Edition. At O'Brien Kimani is my ex-handle, and at KBC Channel 1. Well, President William Ruto has announced a new agreement between Kenya and Ethiopia to transform Lamu Port into a regional transshipment hub. Speaking during the launch of the Kenya Off-Grid Solar Access Project on Ndau Island, Lamu East, President Ruto revealed that Ethiopia, a landlocked nation, will use the Lamu port for the import of goods, helping create jobs and stimulate regional economic growth.
President William Ruto shared that the first 3 modern berths at Lamu Port are now operational. As part of the Lamu Port, South Sudan-Ethiopia transport corridor, the port's development has been ongoing since the year 2012. He also said that the government has allocated 1.7 billion Kenya shillings to compensate displaced fisher folks for the port's construction.
Kubaliana na serikali ya Ethiopia ya kwamba sasa wataanza kutumia Lamu Port. Ndio kazi zipatikane, mizigo iwe pale na tuweze kuitumia kwa kuoperationalize, itusaidie katika kuinua uchumi wa sehemu hii.
In addition, President Ruto launched the 468-unit Mokoe affordable housing project in Lamu West and announced a 600 million shillings initiative to connect 7,000 households in Lamu County to electricity.
Na nimefika hapa makusudi kwa sababu sehemu hii haijafikiwa na stima. Haijafikiriwa kwa mambo ya stima. Hii COSAP, mpango ambao utafikisha stima kwa sehemu ya counties 14 ambayo inaitwa ASAL, Arid and Semi-Arid Areas of Kenya, ikiwemo Lamu hii.
Meanwhile, in Tana River County, the president inaugurated the Bura Gravity Canal project, expanding irrigation from 6,000 to 25,000 acres. Leaders accompanying the president call for an end to tribal politics.
Mimi nawaambia, musikubali viongozi wa kutugawanya kwa misingi ya kabila ama dini ama chuki.
Na jambo la muhimu zaidi ni ya kuunganisha Wakenya. Wewe ndio rais ambaye umetambua kwamba kuna wakati wa kufanya siasa na wakati wa maendeleo, kila Mkenya aweze kuingia katika program ya maendeleo.
Hii kuunganisha Wakenya, kupigana na ukabila, kukataa udini na kuchanganya watu na rangi na ukabila, it gives us an opportunity kwa watu ambaye wanatoka makabila machache kuwa na wao pia wana uwezo siku moja kuwa rais wa nchi hii.
For Prime Edition, I'm Alvin Counder.
Tell you what, I mean, Lamu Port is such a significant and of course a strategic asset for this nation. It is one of the most deepest seaports on the eastern seaboard of Africa, and for the longest time Ethiopia has been relying on Djibouti for its import. And if Kenya can take a slice of what Ethiopia is doing with Djibouti, then you can be guaranteed that it will be a great takeoff for the port of Lamu. I'm telling you this because I've covered Lamu quite extensively in more than 10 years. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has said police have arrested several people and impounded vehicles after Nairobi County officials dumped waste at Steamer Plaza in a retaliatory attack. Speaking during a press briefing today, Murkomen said police arrested the suspected perpetrators for questioning after Kenya Power made a report. The CS has condemned the act, describing it a threat to public health.
On Monday, Nairobi County government garbage trucks spewed garbage blocking access to Steamer Plaza in Nairobi after Kenya Power disconnected power to certain offices belonging to Nairobi City County offices over 3 billion shillings of unpaid power bill, causing an outcry among Kenyans. Today, the Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen said several people have been arrested and vehicles impounded following the incident. Murkomen said actions will be taken, including charging the perpetrators before the court of law.
But at the very highest level, there was a report that was made by from the KPLC. That report led to arrest of some of the officers from this Nairobi for questioning, and also the lorries, some of the lorries have been detained in the police station and so forth.
On the Tolonyang issue, the CS said search and rescue operations are underway, and as of yesterday, 2 bodies were recovered, post-mortem conducted, and DNA samples taken, and families handed the remains of their loved ones.
And I want to say that, as I've said, and I repeat, more than 20 Kenyans have not been accounted for. We will give you the number when we really settle on a number that is collected from the public. Remember that these are not people who just live in Tolonyang. These are Kenyans especially from the Turkana County, from very far. So in terms of accounting for them, maybe even their families do not know whether they are lost or not.
Elsewhere, at least 20 fishermen were killed in an attack by gunmen believed to be from Ethiopia at the Tolonyang border in Lope Kamui and Lotira area in Turkana County. The area that has been volatile for a while between the two countries boasts of economic activities that include pastoralism, livestock keeping and fishing across the border on Lake Turkana. On the abduction of chiefs in the northern part of Kenya, Murkomen assured the public that the government is committed to ensure the chiefs are released as negotiations are underway.
Negotiations are ongoing. The good news is that the contract is there. There are interlocutors that are working on it, and we believe that eventually the situation will be sorted.
On the police officer killed in Haiti, Murkomen said the government is committed to ensure safety of all officers in the Haiti mission.
You must separate your political competition, your hatred for those who are in governance at the moment, and your country. Your country is bigger than the local small-time politics. We must, all of us, give support to our police officers who have gone to Haiti. They are going there for a great mission, to a great calling.
Kenya has so far sent 744 police officers on a mission to restore order in a war-torn Haiti. Michael Mondiga for Prime Edition.
Opposition leaders, including People's Liberation Party leader Martha Karua, Wipers Kalonzo Musyoka, Eugene Wamalwa of DAP Kenya, and Jamie Wanjigi of Safina Party have vowed to team up and forge a united coalition ahead of the 2027 general elections. The leaders who spoke during the unveiling of Martha Karua's People's Liberation Party poked holes on the Socio-Health Authority and the current taxation regime. They claim it was making life unbearable for majority of Kenyans.
3, 2, 1. It's official.
Leaders drawn from various opposition parties Thursday gathered for the unveiling of Martha Karua-led People's Liberation Party in readiness for the 2027 general election. The new party marking the end of about 20-year-old National Rainbow Coalition Kenya.
Muhisa Kitui.
Karua vowed that the renewed party symbolizes renewed commitment to the people.
Our commitment to place your needs first, to fight, to unite and liberate Kenya, to stand with other leaders in order to accomplish this.
The leaders including Wipers Kalonzo Musyoka, Eugene Wamalwa of DAP Kenya, Jimmy Wanjigi of Safina Party, former Makueni Governor Kivutha Kibwana, and Mukisa Kitui, among others, revealing that a grand coalition was in the offing.
We have to make sure the new IEBC will be above board, because that will be the team to lead ukombozi wa kidemokrasia
each one of us must subordinate their interests to the interests of the nation. And whoever gets selected as a candidate through a transparent method that we shall devise, we shall all queue behind that person.
We want unity of not just political leaders. We want unity of all leaders, young and old. And today we invite you, the Gen Zs, because you are the game changers in the journey ahead of us.
There were others who were told, like my dear sister, that there is a liberation coming from Raila Amolo Odinga. Leo Raila ako wapi? Na ni rafiki yangu ako wapi?
And the young people, we don't want them to be in party wings. We want them to be an integral part of our politics.
I am representing a gentleman who's not here with us, and his name is Fred Matiang'i.
The lawmakers allied to the opposition leaders, challenging the government to heed to the pleas of Kenyans and address the many challenges facing the social health insurance, the new university funding model, among others. The political figures seeking answers on what they allege to be unaccounted cases of abductions.
To honor the young Kenyans who died, a lot of them on the 25th of June, which I call J25, we will declare June 25th a public holiday.
As they converge for the unveiling of the People's Liberation Party, its leader Martha Karua made a clarion call to the leaders of the opposition to forge a unity of purpose ahead of the 2027 general election. Giverson Maina, Prime Edition, Nairobi.
Thank you, Giverson Maina, for that report. Former Prime Minister Raila Odinga says he will listen to Kenyans before formalizing a broad-based pact with the Kenya Kwanza administration. Speaking in Migori and Homa Bay counties during his routine consultative meetings, Raila also called on President William Ruto's administration to address pressing issues including challenges in the Social Health Insurance Fund, delayed disbursement of funds to counties, and cases of abductions.
Former Prime Minister Raila Odinga was in Migori and Homa Bay counties for his Meet the People tour, where he also engaged with the ODM delegates. He took the opportunity to make it clear that any move to enter into a broad-based pact with the Kenya Kwanza government will have to be sanctioned by Kenyans.
I've listened very carefully to views that have been expressed by those who are here. And I can say that these people have given me a carte blanche. That is a blank check. I can write an amount on it. They have said that they have faith in what we are going to do and that they will support what we do because they know that it's going to be in the interest of our people. They're not going to betray our people in whatever we do. What we do.
He also called on the government to address the pressing issues affecting Kenyans, including the challenges facing the Social Health Insurance Fund and abductions.
Many have also said they have got what we call devolution. Devolution was enshrined in the new constitution in order to ensure that there's more equitable service delivery across the country. It is not being properly implemented. Devolution is being undermined today.
Meanwhile, the ODM Deputy Party Leader Godfrey Osotsi and Secretary General Edwin Sifuna say they are gearing up for the 2027 general elections, keen on fielding candidates in all elective positions.
Mulisikia baba mwenyewe akisema kwamba 2027 ODM itasimamisha MCA, MP, women rep, senators, governors, na president.
There has never been a better opportunity for ODM to form government than 2027. Wale mnajua hesabu tu ya kura vile huwa inapigwa, mahali huwa wanatulemea, mahali huwa tunawalemea. Kama unajua siasa za Kenya, there is no greater opportunity to make ODM the governing party than in 2027.
Tilio Marco for Prime Edition.
Broadcasting and Telecommunications Principal Secretary Professor Edward Kisiangani has assured Kenyans freedom of expression will not be curtailed through the ongoing review of the Cybercrime law. Appearing before the National Assembly Communications and Information Committee over the Computer Misuse and Cybercrime Amendment Bill, Professor Kimani allayed fears that the review of the cybersecurity law is a knee-jerk reaction to deal with Kenyans' criticism of the government online.
It's not government doing a knee-jerk reaction to threaten citizens. Some people, Mr. Chairman, would think that the role of government is to threaten citizens. That is not the role of government. The role of government is to listen to citizens and attend to the concerns of citizens. So it cannot go there. We have seen many people using the social media to damage the reputation of members of parliament, leaders in this country. And it's not even government alone. Government officers have been suffered, but even individuals have suffered. Some people have intruded in their privacy. So even if you are a creative and you think that you should entertain, develop your talent in a particular field, you have to recognize that our country operates under a constitution where you have rights, but these rights are limited to the extent that other people's rights are also in existence.
And elsewhere, the government is embracing advanced technology like data analytics and artificial intelligence to detect fraud in the war against graft. Attorney General Dorcas Oduor says this is a build-up on the digitization of public services to curb human interference that was prone to corruption.
The fight against corruption went a notch higher with the launch of the 4th Kenya Integrity Plan by the Kenya Leadership Integrity Forum in Nairobi today. The 5-year master plan intends to instill a culture of integrity and transparency in all facets of the society.
Leadership Integrity Forum as a platform that provides us with opportunity to share information, to engage in practical solutions in the quest for good governance for our country.
Attorney General Dorcas Oduor underscored the significance of leveraging technology in curbing corruption.
Traditional methods of mutual legal assistance and international cooperation are no longer responsive. And for that reason, the Office of the Attorney General must be at the forefront to modernize mutual legal assistance mechanisms and methods of international cooperation that are timely and respond to the technology framework that we are working in today, and we are looking into that.
The plan will focus on 3 pillars of specialized training, institutional capacity building, and public-private collaborative partnerships. Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission Chief Executive Officer Abdi Mohamud urged Parliament to hasten the passage of the Conflict of Interest Bill to enhance transparency and good governance.
I am confident that the measures proposed in the bill will enhance efficiency and effectiveness in investigation, prosecution, and adjudication of corruption cases.
At the same forum, the Auditor General revisited concerns on pending bills, terming them a major corruption loophole.
We audit those pending bills in terms of authenticity. We've released 2 reports in the last 5 years on pending bills. Currently, we even have a special committee that is looking at those pending bills. We report on this, and then we push these reports to those that should take action. I report to Parliament. I report to county assemblies. I also copy my reports to the investigative agencies to move in and check what is genuine, what is not genuine, then take action on those who incurred on irregular pending bills.
Doreen Arange for Prime Edition.
It's coming to 18 minutes past 9 o'clock, and you're watching the Prime Edition live here from our national headquarters in KBC or Broadcasting House. My name is O'Brien Kimani. Our first break is coming up next, and thereafter we are back with more stories. Stay right here.
Inuka na Loto Moto Sasa kwa star 570 hash option ya 4 kuna kashamba juja na nika 50 by 100 worth 1.7 million Kenyan shillings. Na hii si shamba tu, iko kwa prime location, few minutes from Juja Town. Stima yako iko ndani, na kama ni development, rapid and so promising. Na mambo ya landlord, mwisho wa mwanzo ni hapa. Ukishinda hili shamba, tunakuongeza 1 million Kenyan shillings ujijengee nyumba yako kwa shamba yako. Kuinuka na loto moto ni kucheza sasa hivi kupitia star 570 hash option ya 4 au register deposit na ucheze sasa hivi kwa www.tushinde.com na ujishindie shamba hili na addition of 1 million Kenyan shillings. Inuka na loto moto!
Sasa hawajasema kuhusu kutibu.
So hiyo ni kingine kanatokea?
Yeah, kingine kanatokea.
So ziko 4 plus itakuwa 5.
Kukula, haezi kula kitu yenye ni ngumu. Lazima mtafutie kitu ni nyepesi. Akikula kitu ngumu anasikia maumivu. Sasa zingine hata ana nose bleed.
Naweza waba mtusaidie. Juu tumepitia mengi, hatuna pesa, zimeisha juu ya clinic.
Kama ni haja kubwa ama dogo, nampeleka, alafu nakuja hapa, hawezi tembea.
Well, the big interview is coming up here at the tail end of this bulletin. And of course, I told you that we shall be looking at Bata Kenya Limited and of course their growth strategy going forward. And of course, we have sports lined up. And the question is, what is the fate of Mashemeji Derby? Stay right here. Members of the National Assembly are accusing their counterparts in the Senate of what they termed as an overreach of their jurisdiction in executing parliamentary functions. This follows a concern raised by the chairperson of the Blue Economy, Water and Irrigation Committee, Bowen Kagongo, that a Senate committee had invited the Ministry of Water, Irrigation and Sanitation to discuss the budget policy statement.
Members of the National Assembly criticized the Senate's move as a duplication of roles and a waste of time and resources.
Something or someone is duplicating work and it's upon us to cut the costs. Are we cutting costs by doing double work by the same parliament?
Honorable Speaker, just looking at the entire agenda, it is actually misplaced because this is work that should be done by the Departmental Committee for Water and Irrigation of the National Assembly. And I want to agree with the Honorable Kerema, it is not just a waste of public resources, but a waste of valuable time of honorable senators and more valuable time of the Cabinet Secretary.
The lawmakers argued that budget oversight, except for matters related to the Ministry of Finance and the Division of Revenue, falls within the National Assembly's mandate.
It is a situation of overreaching. It is not just that committee. There are many times, there are many committees in which we serve where a particular government department is supposed to attend, and then we are told there is a simultaneous invitation by another committee of the Senate. And if you examine keenly, you cannot see the nexus between that committee and the work of the counties and the jurisdiction of the Senate.
If you are a Cabinet Secretary and you have 2 invitations, one by the Departmental Committee that oversights you and your ministry, and one from another house that oversights governors and county governments, you have a choice to decide where to appear.
They urged the National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula to issue an authoritative directive to the executive to provide clarity on the matter.
In all these things after you have done, have you asked yourself, in all your reports in 1 year, what have you delivered? After you have gone through a CS, you have gone through all the questions you are asking, you have gone through the media, the deliverance of that is critical.
Personally, Mr. Speaker, you've appointed me now twice to a committee called Mediation Committee. And whenever we go there, Mr. Speaker, we deal with very mundane issues. Issues of ego. Issues of who is big and who is small. Not
The latest standoff reignites supremacy battles between the two houses of the bicameral parliament, with the National Assembly maintaining that the Senate should stick to its constitutional responsibilities. This comes as the Senate Committee on Health is set to investigate an outbreak of the deadly Kala-Azar disease, also known as visceral leishmaniasis, in Marsabit County. The move follows a statement sought by Marsabit County Senator Mohamed Chute over the outbreak of the deadly disease, with senators questioning the status of healthcare in the country.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the outbreak has sparked serious public health concerns about Kala-Azar. If left untreated or not treated properly, cause severe organ damage and is fatal in over 95% of its cases.
The controlling system is actually very poor in Kenya, and the only thing we do is that we need to control it, because actually it's a recent development, because it came all the way from our border lines like Somalia and Ethiopia. It has not been there for a long time in Kenya. And I think the best thing is control.
If not treated, the disease causes severe organ damage and is fatal in over 95% of cases, according to the World Health Organization. Kamche Menza for Prime Edition.
Former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua impeachment case has been postponed to May 15th following a stay of proceedings by the Court of Appeal. The case, which has been initially scheduled for the mention on the 27th of February at the Milimani Law Court for further directions before the Justice Eric Ogola-led bench, has been pushed following the latest development from the Court of Appeal. Details of this story and more in the Scales of Justice segment.
Former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua impeachment case has been postponed to May 15th following a stay of proceedings by the Court of Appeal. The case, which had been initially scheduled for mention on 27th February at the Milimani Law Court for further directions before the Justice Eric Ogola-led bench, has been pushed following the latest developments from the Court of Appeal. Rigathi Gachagua had filed the case last year at the Court of Appeal to protest the bench at the High Court led by Justice Eric Ogola, Anthony Mrima and Freda Mugambi. Gachagua's counsel had expressed fears that they will not get justice before the three-judge bench, thus prayed for a stay of the proceedings at the High Court. Elsewhere, a Bomet Law Court has allowed the detention of a self-proclaimed prophet Zachary Kibet Rotich of Bethel Church in Kapkwen, Bomet County, until March 6, 2025. The prophet was arraigned for allegedly assaulting a church member on February 19th this year in what he said was an attempt to drive away demons from the woman. Appearing before Resident Magistrate Mbedhi Michuki, Rotich's lawyer Cadet Kiprono requested bail, but the prosecution led by Peter Mwangangi opposed it, citing the risk of evidence tampering and the fact that other suspects were still at large. The court will review the bond application and set a hearing date next month. Letua Debra for Prime Edition.
On to the world of business, where a number of investors might lose their land at the Galana Kulalu irrigation scheme as the government plans to repossess idle allocated land. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe says some foreign investors have shown interest in investing in the land, adding that only large-scale investors will be prioritized as the Cabinet is drafting a memo that will guide land allocations.
The government has defended private land allocations at the Galana Kulalu, saying it was above board and it will release detailed content of land deals at the project. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary says the long lease period given to foreign investors at the Galana is to ensure investors recoup their investments.
Develop a structure where, number one, the investors feel safe, that they can put their money knowing very well that you don't wake up one day and just kick them out of the farm.
A number of investors are set to lose their land as the government starts reallocation of idle land at the scheme.
So we want to make sure that the investor does not acquire land and keep it for themselves, just holding it. We want to make sure that the investor cannot transfer the land that has been allocated to them to another entity, for profit.
He was speaking during a parliamentary meeting at KEFIS, where Kagwe opposed the merger of the Plant Agency and the Biosafety Authority, saying the merger might compromise the country's food safety.
We have spoken about KEFIS and the Biosafety Authority, and those two cannot be merged because of international obligations that the country has. For example, to deal with the issues of biosafety, that is mandated internationally to a specific organization. To deal with the issues of GMO, that is mandated internationally to the Biosafety Authority.
We ensure that the European market or whichever market what they receive, because they are a bit concerned on their health issues. It is KEFIS that seems to be sorting out, because if you look at the composition where it is, the branches, the airport, and most of the exit points.
Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
Thank you, Benson Rioba, for that report. Kenya has borrowed $1.5 billion, which is about 195 billion Kenya shillings, from the international capital markets by floating a new Eurobond that matures in the year 2036. National Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi says the issuance is a strategic move aimed at managing debt obligations and maintaining investor confidence. As Wairimu Jenga narrates, the Eurobond will attract a 9.5% interest rate.
National Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi says even though Kenya was seeking to raise $1.5 billion, or about 195 billion shillings, by floating the latest Eurobond, the country received bids worth $5 billion. Mbadi says, and I quote, Kenya's continued successes in the international capital markets underscores strong investor confidence in the country's economic management. End of quote. The latest Eurobond will be repaid in 3 equal installments in 2034, 2035 and 2036. The National Treasury Cabinet Secretary says proceeds from the latest Eurobond will help restructure external debt, with part of the funds allocated for the buyback of Kenya's 900 million USD or 117 billion Kenyan shillings Eurobond maturing in 2027. The final buyback amount will be determined based on market demand on Monday next week. He says the latest Eurobond issuance follows the full repayment of Kenya's 2024 Eurobond and aligns with the bottom-up economic transformation agenda that prioritizes debt sustainability and investor confidence. Currently, Kenya's public debt stock stands at 10.58 trillion shillings as of 2024, up from 10.27 trillion shillings in 2023. This comprises 5.1 trillion shillings, which is 48.9% in external debt, and 5.41 trillion shillings, representing 51.1% in domestic debt. As a share to GDP, the debt stock declined to 65.7% in June 2024, up from 72% in a similar period the previous financial year, mainly due to the appreciation of the shilling against major foreign currencies. In the medium-term debt management strategy, Mbadi noted that Kenya's public debt is sustainable, emphasizing the government's commitment to fiscal consolidation and ongoing reforms to reduce borrowing costs and mitigate future debt risks. Wairimu Jenga for Prime Edition.
Families and friends of the diaspora community in 4 financially underserved counties can now access remittances directly following the rollout of a SACCO cash pickup portal remittance services. Through the service by Credit Bank PLC in partnership with digital payment platforms InterSwitch Kenya and Ria Money Transfer, recipients can conveniently collect money sent via Ria Money Transfer at Skyline SACCO branches across Nakuru, Baringo, Trans Nzoia and Nandi counties.
Despite the widespread adoption of mobile money, many Kenyans still rely on cash transactions. The need for broader financial integration is evident because international remittances remain partially cash-based. Currently, remittance costs to Kenya average 10.72%, exceeding both the global average of 6.65% and the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal target of 3%. To address this, Credit Bank and Ria Money Transfer have partnered to roll out a cost-effective solution with mid-market exchange rates ranging from 2 to 4%, making cross-border transactions more affordable for Kenyans worldwide.
A non-member can be able to come in and still cash out and get their cash. You don't have to be a member of the circle. This is creating access to rural people who are there and where the presence of the circle is still there.
Besides this, beneficiaries will also gain knowledge on financial literacy programs covering budgeting, payments, savings, and wealth management needed to make informed financial decisions to achieve long-term financial stability.
We've still seen that we still have to educate them. We need to be able to show them the benefits of actually utilizing the same and creating trust that whatever channel that you are using, that it can actually get you your money and in secure and fast way.
There is the leading source of forex in the country, overpassing agriculture and tourism. So it's a very important flows to stabilize the economy and the forex.
Further, a diaspora information hub has been provided by the lender to enable customers access savings and investment opportunities and dedicated relationship managers for personalized financial support.
It's been easier for them to be able to understand also what we're doing with remittance, because we've seen most of them have relatives or have people who are in the diaspora.
Ndota Mokami for Prime Edition.
Financial service players should devise ways of enabling payment across borders without added cost to customers who are mostly traders. Investment, Trade and Industry Cabinet Secretary Lee Kenyanjui is concerned about the costly cross-border transactions as a result of incompatible financial payment systems.
Cross-border payments remain costly, averaging 7% of the transaction value, well above the global average target of 1% for retail payments and 3% for remittances. This means that small businesses and traders pay more to sell their goods across the continent, with overlapping financial barriers slowing integration of continental financial systems.
Why is it that our exports, say to Egypt, are not going as they should be? And the question we have gotten from time to time is that we are not able to get our payments in time, or sometimes not able to get at all.
Many regions still lack necessary infrastructure, integrations to support efficient cross-border services, limiting access to financial services.
Kenya is exploring how to review legal frameworks to facilitate fast payment platforms.
We want to go to the next level, to be the Silicon Valley of Africa, to be the financial hub of Africa. And the government will do whatever it takes, whether it's legislative, to ensure that the system works and that we give our people information on how this trade can be enhanced.
Financial service providers believe integrating national payment systems and enabling instant retail and wholesale payments across the continent will see traders, customers and businesses benefit from lower transfer costs.
All of this trade doesn't happen without payments. So we believe that anything that makes payments more efficient will have an accelerating effect on trade.
If we can support the small traders to just be able to efficiently pay across borders using their own local currencies, I think the Kenya shilling is strong. Be able to support and give the right indications for support for that.
Reduced reliance on costly intermediaries and greater financial inclusion. Alanako, Prime Edition.
Jet A1, cheza aviator bila data bila credo. Dial *892# for instant takeoff. Pepea bila pressure kucrash au kucash out. Aviator bila data, aviator bila credo. Uko na kabambe, wewe pia ni rubani mnoma. Dial *892#. Jet A1, michezobet.com. Cheza kwa kuwajibika. Kushiriki ni miaka 18 au zaidi. BCLB license number 0000664.
The affordable housing is a key plank of the government under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. Under this project, the government seeks to construct 1 million houses, both social and affordable. by the year 2027. But this initiative has not been without challenges, both political and legal.
Yes, because so far I have 140,000. Of course, the question is, but you have done 2 years. Maybe Kenya should give me the benefit of a 1 year off, because you remember the starting was very difficult. There was a lot of negativity. There were court cases and litigation, and we had not money to get the fund. Now we have a fund, which we are calling the Housing Levy Fund.
This week on Inside Government, we are talking to Housing Cabinet Secretary Alice Wahome. Our conversation will revolve around affordable houses, the challenges, the opportunities, and the way forward. There is need for increased investment in micro and small enterprises to drive economic growth and job creation in the country. During the graduation ceremony, where 60 agro-processors and manufacturers from Western and Central Kenya completed the Somo Kiev Skis project, stakeholders emphasized the need for structured interventions to support small businesses, including funding, training and market access to ensure sustainability for small businesses.
They've been going through business training, they've learned how to produce new products, and now it was just to celebrate all the hard work and effort that has been put in there. We know that this is just the beginning of the journey. Like a lot of the entrepreneurs who have manufactured new products at our Tengeneza na Somo facility, which is a paid-per-use production facility, now need extra support so they can get KEB certification and push those products out to the market.
Before joining the program, I was in my comfort zone with just that one chili product. But after joining the project, I was encouraged to pursue other sources of income.
I came to meet entrepreneurs who have their own farms, and their farms are doing so well. I got courage, and I also learned that starting your own business doesn't need much capital. It just needs some courage.
Through the program, I've been able to come up with peanut butter with sesame seeds, which is very healthy and nutritious to health-conscious individuals. And so far, so good. I've also been able to track my cash flows, write them down, and be able to separate my profits and also business money so that I can be able to do more production for my business.
International logistics firm Maersk has partnered with the Kenya Port Authority to skill maritime professionals to tap opportunities in maritime and blue economy sector. Beneficiaries of the 12-month maritime training program will also benefit from mentorship and practical exposure on international shipping vessels.
It is estimated that if properly harnessed, the blue economy has the potential to inject up to $4.8 billion to Kenya's economy and create over 52,000 jobs in the next 10 years.
Shipping and logistics form the backbone of the region's success and of global commerce, and Kenya remains uniquely positioned to play an even greater role in this sector than it does today. But to realize this potential, we must develop world-class talent.
However, a yawning skills gap threatens the maritime subsectors, which have not been developed fully to realize their full potential.
This program will attract more students to various maritime training opportunities as we launch this year's first intake. We celebrate an achievement that aligns with our national strategy focus on new development.
The comprehensive 12-month maritime training program is expected to provide mentorship and practical exposure on international shipping vessels. In the first phase, 10 graduates from the Bandari Maritime Academy are to benefit from the newly launched cadet training program sponsored by international logistics firm Maersk in partnership with the Kenya Ports Authority.
We hope that this number is going to be way, way, way higher. And as we take in the cadets, let's also not forget the seafarers as well, who I believe the sea time is even way less than the one for cadets, who we believe.
Going forward, stakeholders called for an increase in the number of cadets to be selected for the next cohort. Regina Manyara reporting for Prime Edition.
Well, firms in Kenya are being challenged to adopt agile and user-friendly solutions to assist micro-retailers improve the management of their inventories and streamline their operations. The National Duka Owners Association Director Alice Waberu has underscored the need to support micro-retailers given their impact on livelihoods. Wycliffe Okech has the report.
It is estimated that over 90% of Kenyans purchase fast-moving consumables from local retail shops. According to National Duka Owners Association, micro-retailers contribute about 26 billion shillings to the economy annually. However, inventory management is among the challenges slowing the sector's growth.
In the evening and in the morning's rush hour, what solution do they need to use that is useful and user-friendly for them to capture all their transactions? So we call out on tech providers to deliver tailor-made solutions, user-friendly solutions for the micro-retailers.
The National Duka Owners Association is therefore calling upon innovators to tailor-make tech solutions that will help micro-retailers manage their inventory better.
When you walk to a supermarket, it's easy to scan a product as you walk out. That's not the case in a supermarket. In a micro-retail shop. So we are calling upon the tech providers to design user-friendly, tech-driven solutions that are suitable for a micro-retail outlet, which is very unique.
The association is currently holding a 2-day capacity building for over 1,000 micro-retailers in Kisumu. The training, which has so far benefited over 60,000 micro-retailers across the country, is focusing on market linkages, customer service and inventory management, among others.
We want every micro-retailer, every Duka owner to be able to join the National Duka Owner Association so that they can work together, they can have peer support, and they can advocate for their issues.
The micro-retailers said they face challenges in accessing formal and affordable credit. For Prime Edition, I am Wycliffe Okech.
Elsewhere, firms in Kenya are being challenged to adopt agile practices that will accommodate the Gen Z into the workforce to ensure there is continuity. Stratostaff founder and managing director Sam Watene says human rights professions and companies need to inculcate agile culture, which will ensure the new workforce adopt and collaborate for continuous learning.
Country where 70% of our population is youth, how do we create more vibrant organizations that the youth, as we like to call it, Gen Zs, can actually thrive? Places where they are proud to work, they are proud to do the jobs that they do, and where they actually deliver satisfaction not only for themselves but for the customers that they actually work for.
Let's now cross over to the trading floor of the Nairobi Securities Exchange, where Bamburi Cement shares have been suspended from trading from the Nairobi Securities Exchange for 10 days effective from tomorrow. And today, Bamburi Cement shares touched a low of 53 shillings and 50 cents and a high of 59 shillings on a volume of 60,000 shares traded. In total, 60 million shares were traded today at the NSE, with the turnover rising to 641 million shillings.
Shares of Bamburi Cement have been suspended from trading on the Nairobi Securities Exchange from tomorrow to pave way for a smooth transition following acquisition of 96.54% of its issued ordinary shares by Tanzania-based Amsons Industry. On the day before the suspension takes effect, the firm's shares, which opened for trading at 56 shillings and 50 cents, moved 60,000 shares after touching a high of 59 shillings and a low of 53 shillings and 50 cents. BOC Kenya, which has appointed Lawrence Githinji as its new managing director, saw its shares increase 4.67% to 84 shillings on a volume of 5,000 shares. The banking sector led trading activity with shares worth 467 million shillings changing hands. KCB Bank was the most active counter, moving 7 million shares valued at 326 million shillings to close at 44.8 shillings. Standard Chartered Bank transacted 178,100 shares worth of 53 million shillings, settling at 300 shillings, while I&M Group saw shares worth 38 million shillings traded closing at 35.8 shillings. The manufacturing sector accounted for 18% of the traded value, with East African breweries closing 2% lower at 185.75 shillings on a volume of 386,000 shares. Safaricom edged lower to 18.1 shillings, with 1 million shares worth 19.9 million shillings traded, making up 2.9% of the total traded value. Car and General, that appreciated 9.98%, led the list of the companies whose share prices increased. On the opposite end, Longhorn Publishers, that declined 9.94%, led firms whose prices recorded the biggest dips. Bonds worth 19.9 billion shillings were traded in 238 deals. The NSE 20 share index appreciated by 5.14 to stand at 2,293.51. Trevor Ngendo for Prime Edition.
With us, it is time for sports with me, Bernardo Kumu. The Kenya national floorball team will head to the Special Olympics World Winter Games in Italy in the hunt for a medal, having prepared for the games for more than a year. Now, the team's morale was today boosted by 1 million shillings sponsorship from the National Bank of Kenya.
After a rigorous qualification process for the Special Olympics World Winter Games, the national floorball team is ready to travel to Italy and has been training in the country since August, ahead of next week's World Games. The team has been in residential camp at Kasarani Stadium, where they received a 1 million shillings morale booster from the National Bank ahead of their journey next week.
With the knowledge that our over 1,500 athletes from across the world who will grace this event in Turin, this will offer Kenya a unique opportunity to showcase its growing presence in winter sports and demonstrate our unwavering spirit of excellence.
There are a lot of positive stories that have come out of persons with intellectual disability. These we will share with you going forward in the future. But more important is that we're extremely grateful for this partnership. We've worked together, we've had medical camps together. We will continue to promote sports together, and we wish this team every success.
Irrespective of the teams they will encounter in the games in Turin, Coach William Wanjohi believes they will make the country proud.
We have the energy, and we have been preparing. We are so confident in this, and we are not going to to relent on anything because we have been trained for 1.5 years, so we are so confident.
He will travel with a fully fit squad with no concerns and is hopeful of returning better results compared to the show in the Berlin Special Olympic Games in 2023. More than 3,000 sportsmen and women are expected to compete in about 8 sporting disciplines at the Winter Games in Turin from the 8th to 15th of March 2025.
Elsewhere, Kenya Pipeline began their title defense at the 2025 CAVB Zone 5 Club Championship in Kampala with a strong performance, defeating Deje Elite of Uganda by 3 straight sets in Pool A match at the Lugogo Indoor Arena. Now, under the guidance of coach Jojo Mondi, the Kenyan team triumphed in straight sets of 25-16, 25-20 and 25-23. In other matches, KCB Uganda also secured a 3-0 win over TPVC of Tanzania with scores of 23-7, 25-11, 25-10. The tournament has attracted clubs from 12 African countries, among them Burundi, Egypt, South Sudan, Ethiopia, Djibouti, Eritrea, Somalia, Rwanda, Tanzania, and hosts Uganda. In the local action, Rift Valley Prisons defeated Mount Kenya Bezietu in straight sets in Kenya Volleyball Federation 4th leg matches at the Nyayo Gymnasium. Additionally, Kapu triumphed over Kenya Army by 3 straight sets as KP narrowly beat KFS 3-2. AP Kenya secured a 3 straight sets victory over Prisons Nairobi in another match. And football coaches in the country are calling on the Football Kenya Federation to develop a progression program that will see the formation of teams from the grassroots level to feed the senior teams. The coaches were speaking during the Kenya Academy of Sports holiday camp, which will see scouts from Spain visiting the camp in 2 days' time to gauge the performance of the players.
More than 60 junior players, including 37 boys, are currently in the Kenya Academy of Sports holiday camp under trained coaches as they await scouts from Spain to visit the camp and gauge the performance of the players. The training coaches are confident with the level of performance exhibited by the players as they call on the Football Kenya Federation and the clubs in the country to develop programs that will see all teams have their academies with at least different 5 age groups.
The thing is, we don't have a program that does the follow-up. From what category, going to what category, the progression of the players. Unfortunately, as a country, we've failed majorly. We failed majorly because if you look at the teams in KPL, how many teams do have the youth teams?
They play in different positions based on the attributes that we're looking for the different position, different players. So far, we can say we have a balance. If the center backs, maybe we're looking for height, physique, the agility, we have them already.
The coaches say that the country lacks a program of progression which sees the best junior players' talents go to waste. They are also calling on the federation to organize high-profile matches for the lower-age teams against international teams to gauge their performance under pressure.
And to judo now, where 42 coaches and referees are attending the second judo seminar that started today at the Kasarani Stadium, barely 2 months after the first training that was held last month at the same venue. Now these seminars are being held to equip the coaches and referees with necessary skills ahead of the busy 2025 judo calendar that started last month with the Africa Open Championship in Casablanca, Morocco, where Rael Kuloba won gold and Debra Nasserian collected the bronze. The coaches and referees will be part of the Japanese Ambassadors Cup, which will be held this weekend at the Kasarani Indoor Arena, a tournament which will gauge players ahead of the third Africa Open Championship this year, which will be held in Ivory Coast in April. The Kenya Judo Federation plans to send a team of 14 players, 7 men and 7 women, to the tournament.
We have plans to do the seminar after every 3 months so that we can make sure we have enough skills within our referees and within our coaches so that we can be able to spread judo or to do judo in all counties as we promised last time. And without proper skills, it's not possible. So we start from the teachers and going out to the runners.
The challenges which we are going to look at is how our athletes will accumulate points in every event they go. They must win, they must attend, and we must have the strong team. So one issue is having our athletes go to the international events. Second issue, being at the podium, that is where you get the points, is the podium, is not just attending.
Well, and on that judo story is how we end it. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Bernardo Kumo. Let's do this again tomorrow.
Kupitia star 570 hash tunakupa nafasi ya kuchomoka na this beautiful Mazda Demio. Let's check out the amazing features. Enjoy a beautiful, clean, semi-leather interior, low mileage, touchscreen and a reverse cam, fuel-efficient 1300cc engine, great for personal use and business. It has a blind spot monitor, parking sensor, and smart brake support. Ukikaribia any obstacle unapata alert. Ukitaka kujishindia gari hii, kucheza ni rahisi sana. Chukua simu yako, bonyeza star 570 hash, chagua option 3. And for only 35 shillings, hii gari inaweza kuwa yako. Kumbuka kucheza mara kadhaa because the more you play, the higher chances of wewe kuwa mshindi.
Kuna Mungu mbinguni! Thank you Jesus. Mungu ni mwema, asante Mungu. Ndio nitakuwa naendesha hivi.
Uber ama personal car. mwaka, inuka na Lotomoto. Dial star 570 hash and make this dream car yours.
Cheza Lotomoto. Shinda pesa moto moto.
What do you want, Bata?
Respect your elders, Bata.
If you think that you're an elder, then act like one.
I thought you said you had nothing to do with it.
Of course, I always keep my word.
It's going to end up very, very roughly for whoever was involved. Tunaenda na Jess. Hiyo mambo ya ujinga ya Jess unaleta hapa ya kufanya nini?
Sina hata escort mzee.
I trust you.
Uko sure unataka iende hivyo?
Msinya kidogo kabisa.
You've been going after Kaikara for decades now.
Kaikara is not going to stop, and neither am I. Kaende.
Dan, Omena said, this is going to be a good day. I can feel it.
Are you aware that your wife landed? Allah? Hujapata uhondo?
Ima na wendo mwingi tugikuthokia Embu County, the land of opportunities. Kambunene ya Ngemi FM mushi worata.
Twega gure na kamwetha kama viumeto. Muroro kiande tukunye maire na murori tuthie thokore besa mivukore cha
manje makiyara uranje muri cietu cia thitima na ronje rwathagana nyamu cia kithaka igitugemeria bururi wetu wa mbere Embu County Ngemi FM tikomuno tukianirira na mugambo munene eno ni
Ngemi FM
musie wa urata
eno ni nyumba nene
musie wa urata
Ngemi FM 103.5.
Well, I told you the story about Bata, and shifting trends, digital disruptions, and economic uncertainties are some of the factors influencing the leather industry. Mitumba shoes and new entrants offering better pricing are also disrupting businesses by firms that have been in operations for decades. Our reporter Wairimu Jenga had a conversation with Bata Kenya Managing Director Benson Okumu on issues shaping the leather industry, and this is how the conversation went. That interview is what is going to close for us our bulletin for tonight. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. My name is O'Brien Kimani. I'm leaving you with that interesting interview with Wairimu Jenga and Bata Kenya Managing Director Benson Okumu. See you again on Thursday next week. Have a good night.
You're still watching Prime Edition tonight, and we are having a conversation on Bata Kenya and its existence in Kenya. We know it's a footwear giant, the largest shoe manufacturer and retailer in Eastern and Central Africa, celebrating over 131 years of global success, 86 years of operations in Kenya. That is a huge conversation that we are going to have tonight right here at Prime Edition. And of course, to break down that for us, I'm joined by the Managing Director, Benson Okumu, who will tell us some of the innovative approaches and strategies that they have employed over the years to stay relevant and also to stay ahead in such an evolving consumer landscape. Welcome to our conversation tonight.
Thank you, Caroline. My name is Benson Okumu. I'm the Managing Director for Bata Kenya. One thing I have to start with is that I have to really thank our customers and consumers who have supported us, the brand, and who have been with us over the years. Bata has remained an iconic brand in the world and also in Kenya. And having been incorporated in Kenya in 1939, it has withstood all the external and internal factors, economic challenges, and today we still remain the market leader. And that has come because of a number of reasons. The first thing is that we are consumer-centric. Everything that we do globally, we put our consumers at the center of all our strategies. The second thing that we have, we respect our product. We believe that before we place a product to the consumers, it has to be durable, it has to be stylish, it has to be comfortable, and it has to be value for money.
We'll come to that. Yeah. But I'd like us to just give us an overview of the footwear industry. As we narrow in on Bata's business model.
The footwear industry has evolved in a very interesting manner, because we have companies like Bata who we incorporated in 1939. We are structured in a way that we are very formal. We have our stores. First and foremost is that we produce shoes in Kenya, and 80% of what we have is produced in Limuru. Then we have the second-hand market. Then we have the Chinese imports that come in, and then we have all manner of imports which come into the market. So we have the formal market where we play. Then we have the informal market where we have the mutumbas, the second hand. Then we have another market which is between formal and informal, and it is the imports that you see all over. So that is how the footwear industry is structured at the moment.
Could you give us the value?
It is very difficult to give you the total value of the footwear industry, because we don't have very solid records for this. You go to Kenya Association of Manufacturers, any other institutions, we really don't have. So what we do is that we look at what we sell in the market in terms of our turnover proposition, in terms of our production proposition. Then when we compare with the population, then we get a rough idea of what our market share is. But having the real number crunching, we don't have solid numbers on this.
Maybe Bwana CEO can walk us through the Bata business model, and also what makes it a winning strategy in Kenya's retail landscape.
First and foremost, we have a production facility, state-of-the-art production facility in Limuru, which has a capacity of 30 million pairs. So we produce locally, so ours is Buy Kenya, Build Kenya. The second thing is that durability, comfort, value for money, and quality. It's at the center of our products. So that makes us the market leader in terms of what we provide in the product. And then you also, the network distribution, our store network distribution, we have over 126 stores countrywide. So availability is also important here. So having the right product, having the right network distribution, is actually very important for us.
Over the years, Bata Kenya has expanded its offering, and as we look around, we have seen a wide range of fashionable, of course, casual footwear, as opposed to iconic, or rather classic, if I may call them that, the likes of Taffies, the likes of safari boots. I'd like to know from you, when it comes to this impressive strategy, or rather the one you're talking about, what are the key factors driving this growth?
I will tell you. Our strategy is simply honoring the past as we shape the future. We have products which came in the earlier years. You've just mentioned them. We have the Taffies, we have the Safari, we have the Ngomas. They have been there for a long time. You can't run away from them, and people still buy them, and they sell big. But at the same time, we have products which are now coming in for the future. You have the red label, like the shoes you're wearing. You have the Bata red label. You have the Hush Puppies. You have the North Star. So we honor the past with our heritage brands as we shape the future with the stylish and comfort that the consumers need.
How do you choose the market locations?
It depends on a number of things. It depends on, first and foremost, the economic need for a particular location. I'll give you a typical example. We choose it can be a new market location. And how do you get a new market location? You just look at the economic progression of that area. For instance, you will see that there banks are coming up there. There are supermarkets which are coming up there. Those are some of the indicators that tells you that the allocation is ripe for us to go there. You'll see that there's a bank there, there's probably a supermarket there, there are schools there, there are institutions, and then that tells you that the allocation is ripe. The other aspect that we consider is that we could be having a location where we have a Bata store, and you can see that the growth of that store is growing very fast over time, and there is need to probably add another store in a location which is nearer to that particular store. So it depends on how the economic space of a location is taking place, and what is happening on an existing location that we have that informs the growth.
That has led now to the 126 outlets that you have talked about throughout the country. Yes. Okay. Now, looking at the retail sector, it's dynamic and has its challenges. How has Bata Kenya maintained resilience in such an unpredictable environment?
I'll tell you, because we have kept our eye on the ball. We have ensured that we do not want to be pulled away or to be distracted with other factors that are not within our strategies and the operational factors. And I'll give you a typical example. One of the things that has come into that space, what you're talking about, is price. Because this is a very price-sensitive market. You just said that the retail has had a lot of challenges. Yes, there are people who have come into the market and they have come with the price wars, but we have refused to be dragged into the price war. We have maintained that we'll have the right product with value for money and quality instead of pushing the price war, because we believe that when we engage in a price war, it's just a race to the bottom. So we have really ensured that we keep our eye on the ball and react to market dynamics other than the competitor.
And that brings me now to the next question, because actually you've just answered in terms of opportunities that Bata Kenya has capitalized on to stay ahead in such a competitive market. Are there other, apart from price, not engaging in price wars, are there other strategies that you have employed to stay ahead of the market?
Innovation. The first thing that I told you is that we have products which have been there over time. And as a market leader, we also lead innovation in bringing in new products. Because I'll give you a particular example. Right now, we are sitting in a store where behind you we have the sneaker studio. This sneaker studio has evolved in such a way that today, quite a number of people use sneakers even with suits. The Gen Zs or the young people, they use sneakers. So we have reacted to market demand, yes, and the consumer, what the consumer wants into the market demand, number one. Then the technological advancements. We have machines in our state-of-the-art factory which now can produce better and quality footwear. And then number three, the people. We have very skilled staff who have been with us over time. And remember, people are the most important asset of any company. So when you have people who are skilled and have worked with you for a long time, so you end up having the right setup. So it's the consumer, is the innovation, is the people, and the technological advancements.
Okay, and we'll come to innovation and technological advancement, but you have mentioned Gen Z, which is shaping the consumer trends in our current country. How is Bata Kenya adapting to these trends to attract and retain younger customers?
Today, we...
Jet A1, cheza avia. Jet A1, cheza avieta bila data, bila credo. Dial *892# for instant takeoff. Pepea bila pressure kucrash au kucash out. Avieta bila data, avieta bila credo. Uko na kabambe, wewe pia ni rubani mnoma. Dial *892#. Jet A1, michezobet.com. Cheza kwa kuwajibika. Kushiriki ni miaka 18 au zaidi. BCLB license number 0000664.
Hey, what's wrong?
Where are you right now?
Calm down, I'm listening. What happened?
The stage collapsed.
What did you say?
Right, I promise to get to the bottom of this. Rest assured. Are you there? Hello?
What's going on? Huh? What the hell's going on?
Where the hell have you been, huh?
Chief, why is the stage collapsed?
Why are you asking me?
But
what, Shenyang? Listen, Shenyang, since our company was founded, we have never encountered such a serious accident.
We'll come to innovation and technological advancement, but you have mentioned Gen Z, which is shaping the consumer trends in our current country. How is Bata Kenya adapting to these trends to attract and retain younger customers?
Today, we have, first and foremost, what we do is that as the market leader, and because we want to shape the footwear industry, what do the young people want in their shoe? First and foremost, they want style. Yes, and that style and casualization. That reacts very well with what I was telling you is the sneakers. The kind of variety and quality of sneakers that we are bringing in is large, very high. So we have a range of collection in the sneaker setup. And what we have done also is that if you come to the sneaker studio, we also have some brands which we are agents for. We have the Puma and we have the Adidas. So it is a one-stop shop for shoes for both the Gen Zs and everybody in the family.
Talk about innovative approaches that you have employed. I'd like you to speak more on that, especially in this disruption that we're seeing in the technological space.
What we have done is that, especially in the technology, it has been in two forms. State-of-the-art machinery, producing the right shoes with the right machines, with the right productivity, so which makes it more cost-effective. And then the other thing we have done is that in our stores, we have also added what we call the postworks, the systems that we have in our stores. Our stores are all networked, that if you go to one Bata store and you miss your size or this type of shoes that you wanted in that store, they are able to link you up with another store where that shoe is, and we can even deliver it to you. So it is in terms of production, it is in terms of our systems in the store, and also in our distribution system where we have the warehouse management system, which makes it very, 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 very fast to react to the market the market needs in terms of availability and distribution.
And does this ensure that the product and branding resonates with the needs and expectations of the Kenyan market?
Yes, and that is where we are growing, because the products that we have today. Remember, I've told you, Bata Kenya is the only footwear company in Kenya today which has shoes for all ages and for everybody in the family and for all occasions. Whatever age, whether it is children, whether it is the teenage, whether it is the ladies, whether it is the men, we have the shoes for them. And these shoes we also have for all occasions, like I've told you, whether it is a wedding, whether it is a school, whether it is for the office, we have that shoes. And for all occasions, again, like I said.
How are you enhancing, you talked of customers being the center of Bata Kenya. Yeah. How do you enhance this customer experience in the stores? Yeah. The 126 stores that you've mentioned countrywide.
Training of our salespeople is very, very important. We train our salespeople very consistently. We have training programs for them that we keep on refreshing, so such that when you come into our stores, you find the right ambience first in the store, then you find the right customer service. So the way you get the service, and then our stores are, like I told you, they're hygienic, the ambience, and the service, customer service.
Has digitization impacted your operations?
Yes, of course it has, and it will, but we are abreast to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How are you doing that?
You see, one thing is that what we have done is that every time that there are technological advancements, we have a particular center, which we have globally in Lausanne, Switzerland, which actually ensures that they are abreast with the digital advancements which happen, and they roll it down into operational companies.
There are plans maybe to integrate more of e-commerce and maybe mobile app features to reach customers where they are.
Yes, we are looking into that. And again, I'll repeat here that as a market leader, we have to lead in that. I don't think there's any other footwear company which is doing this, and we are working with stakeholders, and we're also looking at doing it internally. We are at an advanced stage, and what we have done now is that we have a regional person who has just come into the company who will be taking care of that. Yeah.
Last year, you did a lot of expansion. Yes. Yeah. About 85 outlets that you rebranded.
This is one of them, where we are sitting at Alibai, and we have seen a lot of improvement in terms of the sales, because customers want to come into a store which looks good, and a store which it is very easy to identify your product. And we have seen quite a lot of growth. And despite the fact that we had challenges in 2024, remember the challenges of the floods and the challenges of the Gen Z protests, we saw a very good growth in terms of our top line. Yeah, so it actually resulted in a very good growth in terms of top line and bottom line.
Can you give us the numbers?
Yes, we grew 4% compared to the previous year. In 2023, to 2023, we grew 20% compared to 2022. Last year, we grew 4%, 2024 compared to 2023 in terms of the in terms of the top line. And I think as much as it's not very high growth, but you can imagine with the kind of challenges that we have last year, most companies could not even make their previous year's numbers.
Looking ahead, what are the key priorities for Bata Kenya in 2025?
You see, the key priorities remain the same as what we have rolled, because I had a medium-term strategies. What I will start by telling you that my strategy believes in shoeing the people. We have to ensure that we reach the people where they were because of the expansion that you've just mentioned. We have to make sure that we have the right shoe for everybody in the family. I'm repeating this a number of times because it's very important, for all locations and available where they are. And that is why the expansion was there, and now we are going also into e-commerce. That remains our key delivery.
I also saw franchising as one of the way you're expanding your distribution network.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the franchising bits?
Franchising started very well, and again, because of the challenges that we had last year, it slowed down a bit. Today we have 4 franchise stores, and we have quite a number of applications also which are coming in. I believe that this year we should see more franchisees or more partners coming into the domestic franchising agreement or contract.
Are there plans maybe for new product lines?
Oh, you cannot run a footwear industry or a fashion industry without coming in with their new products. We have new products that come in every other 3 months, be it what is produced in Limuru or a few of the imports that we do, because consumers need variety and they need freshness. So there are new products that keep on coming in the market. That is part of our job. Yeah.
You talked about franchising,
yes,
which is partnership,
yeah.
As well as store formats, which you've talked about, the way when a customer walks in, of course, whatever he sees that is attractive is very easy to, yes. So I'd like to know, how does Bata plan to stay innovative and maintain its leadership innovation or other position in the market?
Remember, what makes us stay abreast and continue growing into the market is reacting to the consumer needs. So long as we have supplying the right products at the right value with the right availability, we will continue growing. And that is why we have had 86 years of consistent growth in this country.
Looking at the current economic status that we are going through as a country, we have seen the consumers not having the money to spend, or rather the
disposable income.
Yes. So how are you navigating that as Bata Kenya?
You see, it is probably a plus to us. When you have those kind of challenges, most consumers do not want to try brands that to try new brands. We are a consistent brand and a household brand, and consumers trust us. So it is easier for them to come to an outlet like Bata or to a brand like Bata, where they trust the brand and they trust a company like us, so that they are not gambling with a depressed disposable income. Yeah.
As we come to a close, I'd like to hear your closing remarks. Having been in existence for over 86 years, what should we look forward for in the coming years?
Variety in collections, style, comfort, value for money. That you should look for, and it will be always there in Bata, and we will always ensure. And apart from that, let me also say that I have to thank our customers, or the consumers, or the Kenyan people, the way they have stood with Bata over all those years. They have consistently come to Bata. They have made us #1 in terms of the footwear industry. And also one thing that I want to say at this particular point in time is that because of our support for the CSR, corporate social responsibility, we are there with the people, so we give back to the communities, and that is one way that we use in thanking them. So I'd like to tell our consumers and the Kenyans, the viewers in general, that we'll continue supplying you with the right product at the right price and at the right availability.
Okay, before I wrap up, we talked about corporate social responsibility, and I know you've been partnering with schools. I'd like you to further explain more about that CSR.
We have partnership #1 with Starehe Girls. Every year we go and give shoes to all the Form 1s. And then we also we have a partnership with SOS, you know, the SOS, where we contribute money to them. We do mentorship and skilling to them. And then we also have a number of orphanage homes that we support. Orphanage homes and girls' schools and across the country.
Do you have training or other mentorship programs?
Yes, come again, say again.
Mentorship programs?
Yes, we have mentorship programs with
uh-huh.
schools, and this is now the SOS. We have mentorship programs with them, which we do twice a year. Yeah.
Thank you, sir, for coming to, or rather sharing with us the journey that Bata Kenya has taken over the years.
Yeah.
Well, that is Benson Ekumu, Managing Director, Bata Kenya, talking to us about the expansion strategy as well as innovative approaches that Bata Kenya has evolved, or rather has deployed over the years to ensure that they stay ahead in such a competitive market. My name is Ori Mujenga. Back to you in studio.
Inua jamii karibu nawe kwa haraka na urahisi. Kwa sasa, malipo ya Inua Jamii yanapatikana moja kwa moja kupitia simu ya mkononi. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako kwa niaba ya Wizara ya Leba na Huduma za Jamii.
Inuka na loto moto. Sasa kwa star 570 hash option ya 4 kuna kashamba juja na nika 50 by 100 worth 1.7 million Kenyan shillings. Na hii si shamba tu, iko kwa prime location, few minutes from Juja Town. Stima yako iko ndani, na kama ni development, rapid and so promising. Na mambo ya landlord, mwisho wa mwanzo ni hapa. Ukishinda hili shamba, tunakuongeza 1 million Kenyan shillings ujijengee nyumba yako kwa shamba yako. Kuinuka na loto moto ni kucheza sasa hivi kupitia star 570 hash option ya 4 au register deposit na ucheze sasa hivi kwa www.tushinde.com na ujishindie shamba hili na addition of 1 million Kenyan shillings. Inuka na loto